Hello, and welcome back for part 2 of our episode and our interview with Isaac and Phaedra Bonewits.
Don't tell them about the...
Yeah, right, exactly.
We haven't broken that much news in the world. We're trying.
Okay, so we're being interviewed on the last day of Winter Star.
That's right. And this is Isaac and Phaedra Bonewits, well-known teachers and respected members of our community. Thank you for letting me interview.
Thank you for interviewing us.
Let me start with the question that everybody's asking is, how did you two get together?
At Starwood.
At Starwood. We met at Starwood,
Yeah,
the biggest pagan festival in the eastern half of the United States.
We actually met 19 years ago at Starwood, 1989, and just kept crossing paths. And then, of course, once you had internet availability to talk to each other, we did a lot of that. I used to be a chat host on AOL, and he was always a very gracious guest in my my regular chat. And
you ever done mind games? Play with mind games?
One thing just led to another.
And finally led to you actually hand fasting last year at Starwood?
yes, and we legally married this just last New Year's Eve.
Yeah, we were hand fasted. We had the religious ceremony at Starwood a few years ago, and we had a legal ceremony done on New Year's Eve of this year.
We've actually been living together since 2003.
Yeah.
It took us a while. It took us a
So
while.
we actually got wedding photographs at the office of you guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was written in the early 70s.
Let me go on with this. You've been teaching for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
1970, would you say? Sooner than that?
Actually, as early as 1969, I was teaching classes. Yes. While I was still a student at UC Berkeley, I managed to get independent study credit from my advisor for teaching a class in astrology. It was at UC Berkeley. It was a non-credit class, so nobody else got credit for going to the class, but I got credit for teaching it.
And since then, you've been involved with a lot of the major groups, especially with the Druidic movement. You were instrumental in that.
Yeah. I'm the extinguished founder of Arnriach Féin, which is the largest American-based Druid organization, and I've been involved in both conservative British Orthodox Wicca and liberal California eclectic Wicca, and been involved with Santeria and Voodoo off and on over much of my life, and also involved with Ozatru, although not organizationally. I figure there's a limit to how many organizations I can start or run or participate in. But yeah.
And Phaedra, you've been involved
Actually, since actively since the mid-'80s, and that's when I was involved in Chicago with the foundation of the Panthea Pagan Temple, which I think still exists in some form, but I'm not really certain. Yeah, and we did a lot of public ritual work and did a lot of open work at a time when that was just coming through. That's about the time I started teaching. I probably started my metaphysical career much earlier than that as a tarot reader. I've been a tarot reader for a much longer time and worked with the metaphysical end of that. So we had kind of my toes wet in things from the early 70s, but really got involved in the pagan community, as in I finally found them in the 80s. So I have initiations in Chicago-style Hermetic magic and some different kinds of Wicca and stuff like that.
That's her. That's yours.
Oh.
Take a break here.
Did I drop?
Alrighty.
Anyway, I've had a lot of different magical groups. I've been in a lot of different parts of the country, working with some radical forms of shamanic witchcraft and sexuality things and more ceremonial magic things. And now I'm starting to learn how to be a druid.
So you see this all as a process, from your point of view, this is all a process of constantly learning.
Constantly learning. Yes.
Yeah. I think that both of us have the kinds of minds that, getting into one groove is like, there's so much out there. We like to think of ourselves, and certainly this is a term I've used to describe myself for many years, as an occult generalist. That I'm not just one thing. My interest is broad, and although I know a lot about certain things, I know a good deal about an awful lot of things.
And I have always had a suspicion that when you stop learning new things and you stop growing, that's when you actually start dying. So, you know, I've been involved in magic and paganism and the paranormal for 45 years now, and I still consider myself a beginner. There's so much out there to learn. That's one of the reasons why we were thrilled by the opportunity to set up the Real Magic School, because there's a whole new generation of people out there who, you know, don't have access to good generalist occultist teachers on these various subjects, and this gives them a way to start their lifelong path of learning.
Right. I mean, there's only so much traveling we can do. There's only so many events people can go to. This way, we can put out what we can do, and it's there all the time.
Right.
You know? And as fast as we can.
Which means we get to
stuff.
sleep once in a while.
Well, yeah.
Sleep is a nice thing.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the word occultist, and that's almost become, at some levels I've noticed, have you noticed that it's become like almost a forgotten word? Or
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And I've actually seen, for example, one of the former editor of New Witch, you had an editorial saying, let's take the occultism out of paganism. And I was like, but what about us? You know?
Occultism only ever meant that which was hidden or esoteric, known only to a few.
Yes.
And probably the reason people have been inclined to drop it is because it sounds like the pejorative term cult. So you don't want to say you're involved in the occult because people think that means you say you belong to a cult.
I think that the reason that I'm hanging on to it is because what was known as occultism and what was known as Western esoteric studies is the foundation of so much of what we do
Today, yes.
today. So that if you have an understanding of that, a lot of other stuff just all starts to make sense because you can see where it all came from. You know, it's like, you know, if you start to learn every different kind of flower, that's fine, but if you start to learn the general patterns of what to look for when you're studying flowers, it's a whole other thing.
Right, which is why one of the courses, why we have a Department of Magical History. We think it's really important that students, you know that they don't have to reinvent the wheel, that people have been working in the esoteric fields for literally centuries. And there's a lot of very famous people who are all but forgotten by the modern generation of pagans and witches.
And we promise that the courses will be fun, not boring.
Yes.
I'm afraid people are going to see things like that and go, oh God, that's going to be boring. But you know,
Oh no, because
we're fun. We make jokes.
we know all the scandalous stories about these famous historical occultists.
Yes, so-
and we'll be happy to share them.
Yes.
That's good to know. We can hold that to you. We talked a little bit, like you talked about Real Magic School, and we talked about it teaching magic. What's going to, how do I phrase this best? One of the things are people are going to ask you, you know, can you really teach magic and, over the internet? And, you know, isn't it something you're supposed to learn face to face?
Well,
That certainly is ideal.
yes and no and maybe. You could teach magic over the internet at least to the extent that you can teach it through books.
And possibly better because we can have more interaction.
Exactly. It's going to be the interaction with the students through the chat rooms and the forums that is going to make it more active than a book would be. And there are thousands of people who want to learn magic, and there's no way we can fit them all into one room. So face-to-face is not really practical anymore. Especially considering, as you were talking about the other day, that people move so much. People no longer live and stay in one place their entire lives. They're likely to up and move house every 2 or 3 years.
So you wind up, even if you wind up apprenticing with somebody, either you or they are likely to move in the next 5 years. So that makes it very hard to have that kind of continuity of face-to-face teaching. It's just a reality of the modern world. So we have to say, well, maybe it's not the perfect system or the way it was already done, but you know, we may find ways that this really works.
And
you've had a lot of experience. My first time I ever found your name, I was very young, but you weren't that much older. So that was it an Anton Wilson book, The Cosmic Trigger.
Cosmic Trigger, yes.
And you were at a California party.
Yeah?
They talk about that, and there's mysterious phone calls and things of that nature. But you've been involved with, not just there, but you've been involved with a lot of people you would call occultists as well as free thinkers.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You've been you've been pretty much Johnny on the spot for a lot of this.
Well, I have a habit of sticking my nose into other people's business. So I was in on the revival of the Ordo Templi Orientis. I knew a lot of the people who founded Narug, the main California eclectic liberal Wiccan tradition. I've met a few of the elders in the Gardnerian community. I know a lot of other authors, of course, because we hang out together when we can. So, yeah, I've managed to be there at some very interesting moments in American occult history.
Right. It's also important to remember that when you start going back 20 and 30 and 40 years, everybody kind of knew each other because there weren't that many people doing this stuff.
Right, right.
And so all the occult and pagan communities tended to be a lot more cross. Everybody was involved with everybody else's thing, and you tended to, if you didn't actually know somebody, you knew their names, and kind of it's gotten, since the late 80s, 90s, gotten a lot more spread out and a lot more diverse.
Yeah, there are now millions of people involved in paganism in the New Age, where before there were only thousands.
Yeah, so many factors were
we know a
spread
lot
out.
of the old coots because we're old coots.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, the first time I heard his name is because my first magical teacher in Chicago said, okay, if you guys are serious about learning magic, here's required reading, Real Magic by Isaac Bonewits. And I fell in love with his writing style first.
And you know, I've kind of found it simultaneously annoying and amusing that there are tens of thousands of young pagans and occultists out there who are using vocabulary that I coined and ideas that I first articulated, and most of them have never heard of me.
That's a big thing that I've noticed.
Yes.
A lot of people don't notice it, but neo-paganism is really coined by you was one of the strongest terms that I know directly that you.
Well, I didn't actually coin the phrase neo-paganism, no.
You were
in
a
modern
big
times,
popularizer of it.
I was a big popularizer of the term. The term was coined in modern times by Oberon Zell Ravenheart, back when he was founding the Church of All Worlds in the early 1960s.
When he was 10.
I did coin the term, for all practical purposes, Mesopagan and Paleopagan, and I coined the term theology, much to the annoyance of the feminist goddess worshippers, and I coined the term pagan reconstructionist, much to the annoyance of a lot of modern pagan reconstructionists.
And don't forget Famtrad.
And Famtrad, yes, family traditions of witchcraft, descended from grandmother to granddaughter since the Stone Age. Yes, I regret coining the term Famtrad, but most of the other coinages have worked out well.
That's good. I know this is the end of Winter Star. People are waiting. I know
Yes.
you're heading back home. What do you expect, not just from the teaching of it, what do you expect? Do you expect anything from the next generation? Do you hope that they carry on traditions?
Oh, I have high hopes for the next generation of American occultists and for occultists around the world now, that magic is one of the very few forms of power that cannot be monopolized by the usual suspects in the power elite. You know, corporations and dictators and governments cannot stop us from having magic, because magic is innate within every human being. So I see magic as a powerful tool for evolution, if not for revolution, of human culture.
We're also at a time unique in history where people can choose their religion,
Yes.
choose things like this. You know, even 20, 30, 40 years ago, it was very difficult to find out information on this. You couldn't Google things. So there's an immense excitement, that sense of wonder, where you can be curious about things and find out about things and maybe actually do something with the knowledge. And it's a really unique time in history. So that's very exciting.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to find out something about the history and use and artistic applications of left-handed monkey wrenches, you can Google them. You don't have to try to hunt down a local artist mechanic who knows how to use left-handed monkey wrenches. You can find the information on the net. You can also find a lot of nonsense on the net.
Yes.
So part of what we're doing in Real Magic School is giving students the tools of discernment, basic approaches and habits of thought that will enable them to separate the useful information from the nonsense that is out there on the net and in various books and publications.
Mm-hmm.
Well, terrific. If anyone wants to consult with you, they can go to Neopagan.
They can go to my website, which is neopagan.net, or if they're interested in becoming one of our students, they can go to realmagicschool.com.
And that's magic without the K, because it's real.
I hope that you enjoyed this week's episode of Living the Wiccan Life and that you'll join us again next week. And until then, may you blessed be. Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis, and I'm very pleased to announce the publication in paperback of Witch School's Lessons for the First Degree. Available now for pre-order from witchschool.com and coming soon to a bookstore near you, together with Lessons for the Second Degree and Lessons for the Third Degree.